2 weeks ago, I talked about an insane workflow to identify your website visitors and contacting them using warm cold emailing. This workflow by default was already amazing. But guys, I found something even better that generated me even more leads, and the cost is just $29 per month maximum, meaning it scales like crazy. In this video, I will show you step by step how you can replicate this workflow for your business to generate more leads and turn those leads into closed deals. Alright guys, so let me explain to you what the workflow is about. So if you have a website, you probably have people going to your landing page, or if you're posting some content like case studies or blog posts, you have people going to those pages. And so typically what we want to achieve is that the person go to your pages. So again, it could be landing page, case studies if you are an agency, pricing page or blog post. And from there, we want them to scroll, and then you see a message just popped in the live chat software. And the thing is, this thing will be automated across all the different pages, and it can be personalized depending on the blog post that they are browsing. And so it sounds very basic, but it sounds pretty human because it's a human face, etc. And the thing is, it works on any website visitors. And so how do I know that it works? It's just because it generates conversations. So typically here, from there, the person is replying and it generated me a lead. This one, you see I generated the message in another language, which was Dutch. The person replied in English because they know obviously all our website is in English. And from there, like the conversation kick-started, I sent the link. And so as you can see, within precisely 12 minutes, I booked the call, the guy booked the call. And from there, now he's a pretty warm lead, and he would probably take a subscription because the call went really well and we chatted for about 30 minutes, as you can see right now. And so this process works very well, and I really like it because it just costs $29. But let me compare why it works so well. So the first thing is, like before, to do the exact workflow I just presented to you, if you go online, like the main workflow you will find is people telling you that you should use a tool like RB2B or Vector to identify anonymous visitors. And so from there, you will then push those leads into Clay or similar. So you see, every time you have to pay quite a good fee per month. And from there, you will push those leads to a cold emailing campaign. But let's remember the goal, guys. The goal is to identify your website visitors to generate more leads with the best return on investment. And the problem here is that it works pretty well with those tools because you are able to really reveal the identity of the person, but it doesn't work for small businesses that much. The enrichment rate is not fantastic. And so you are not literally talking to every single website visits on your page, on your landing page, on your case studies, on your blog posts. Whereas with this strategy, you are just using one tool, it's $29 per month, and you can reach out every single website visitors. And from there, you're generating more conversations, and they will drop the emails. And once you have the emails, it's done. Like you can also retrieve the informations and etc. But it's much better because you have the person why they are on your website. With this process, yes, it can be pretty fast. They can receive the email within like 10 minutes, 5 minutes, depending on how well you've made the workflow. But this one is much more instant, it's much cheaper, and it's much better because it works on every website visitors. It will work on 100% of the people that visit your website, not only on 30 to 60% of people visiting your website, depending on if they are SMB or an enterprise company. So now with that being said, let me show you how to set up this workflow. All right, so the first thing you're gonna do is that you're gonna go to Google and you're gonna type crispchat. So you want to go to crispchat here, or you can click in the link in the description, and then you want to create an account. So I already created an account, but essentially it will go, you create an account, you can create the account for free, and then you have to go to settings. And once you are in settings, you want to go to workspace settings and to go to setup and integrations. And once you are in setup, you want to click on websites and you're gonna click on HTML. and you see Crisp will give you a code that you have to put on your website. You absolutely have to do this, otherwise you won't be able to install the chat tool on your website, and you won't be able to do this technique. So once you've copied the code, you have to go to your website editor. So in my case, it's Framer. So I will go to Framer, and you want to go to the general section of your website. And typically there's a section related to HTML code, so custom code, and you want to paste the code in the start of your head tag or at the end of the head tag, it doesn't matter. And so once you've done that, you have to save, and then Crisp is installed. And now we can move on to the juicy part of how to set this up. So once you've set up Crisp on your website, it will appear by default here, but you will have nothing that will happen. There will be no new messages when someone is browsing your website. So how do you set this up? All right, so to set this up, the first thing you have to do is to go to plugins, then you're gonna click on triggers, and then you're gonna click on new trigger. And so this is where the magic happens. So you will be able to essentially create the message when the visitor is on a specific page. And so how I like to set this up is that you want to toggle on show a message, you want to open the chat box, and you want to also play a sound. And from there, you're gonna click on pages, and you're gonna click after a delay. So typically, I think for my test, 6 seconds is pretty good. So after 6 seconds on the page, like you will specify the page you want to have. So it could be like the pricing page, can be the home page, can be all the pages that you care about, or like you can have the same message for all the pages. But I will show you like how I design my messages in my case. But essentially, like this is pretty much the setup. And then you want to execute like this, you will not touch it. That's pretty much how it works. And you want to disable this on mobile devices, because yes, you might have traffic on your mobile, but it looks very ugly and it's very annoying on mobile. So you really want this to work on desktop. And so from there, like you have to do 2 things. So selecting the page, like I said, it's pretty easy. You just write the URL or like apply it to all the URLs you have by adding the asterisk like this. And when it comes to the message, you basically have multiple options. So typically, if you are an agency, you want to have a message where they can book a call straight away on your Calendly or cal.com link. And so you want to pitch aggressively what you do and try to get the call straight away. Otherwise, if you don't want to be like super aggressive, you can send them to a lead magnet page or a case study. And so on that page, you will have a lot of buttons for them to book the call. And so this is a good strategy that you can do. And if you are a SaaS business, you can either do the lead magnet strategy where you're pushing them to a lead magnet page or a case study page, or otherwise, the best way, in my opinion, is just to send them to your homepage, because your homepage is pretty much where they can sign in pretty easily. And so you can be a bit aggressive. So if I show you how I did this for my own website, so I have a lot of traffic in like 10 different languages. So basically by default, every single traffic on my site, like I have a different like message depending on the country where the person is living. And so I adapted this to the different like countries there are. But essentially, it's pretty much the same message across the entire website. So as you can see is, hey, we've built a modern sales CRM that moves leads automatically in your pipeline, create tasks automatically, integrates with email, phone, LinkedIn, Telegram, and WhatsApp, and many other things. This is the website. PS, we have cool case studies and resources above. And so when the person is on the website, they get the message straight away right here. It opens, and then they can just go on the resources. So at the same time, I'm pushing them to the case studies, and at the same time, I'm pushing them to the main page. And so because we have lots of blog posts, it just does work pretty well. But then if you look at all my different triggers here, I have a trigger for all the pages that are working the best on our websites. So obviously I will blur it so that you don't know which page in particular I get most of my traffic from. But essentially you can see that I have loads of triggers, like a crazy amount for different specific pages. And so for all those different pages that getting a lot of traffic, I have a tailored message that will be adapted for each website visitors. And so once you've done that, you will have the message that will display when people are browsing your website for about 6 seconds. but there's also some optimizations you need to make if you want this to work properly, because if you don't set up the chat box correctly, it won't look like a human, and so people will not tend to reply too much, because by default they know it's an automatic message. But if you have a profile picture with a human face on it, it's much better. So let me show you how to do the setup so that it looks nicer on your profile. All right, so for that you will go to settings, then you will go to chat box settings, and you will go to chat box appearance. So once you are in chat box appearance, you want to toggle on show less active operator face in chat box button when no chat is ongoing. And then you want to also toggle on show operator face in chat box button when a chat is ongoing. And if you do that, you will have the face of one of the operators in the live chat. And so that will be better to improve the conversions. And so if you've done all the steps I showed you so far in this video, you now have a setup that only costs you $29 per month instead of costing you hundreds of dollars per month. And that works on every single website visits. And so typically what is happening with this type of conversations where a trigger started is that you will get the email of the person either directly in Crisp, or if they book the call. And so from there, it's pretty easy to retrieve them on LinkedIn by just pasting the email address on like Google. And from there, you can add them pretty easily to your CRM. Like me, I just use my own personal CRM, which is Breakcold, obviously, if you're watching this video. And yeah, from there, like I can quickly add them to the CRM, and from there, all of our email and LinkedIn and different social interactions are auto-sync, and tasks are automatically created. So really my job is just to show up on this dashboard and just to execute and do the tasks that are created automatically by the AI. And so it directly put me into the right email thread or LinkedIn thread, and I basically just execute and I just do the convos, and that's it. All right guys, if you like this video, make sure to subscribe to that YouTube channel for more content like this, and click on this video if you want to learn a cool cold emailing workflow. Cheers, ciao.